need me.
A mother spends 17 years caring for her disabled daughter, but one tiny mistake exposes a horrifying secret. What starts as unconditional love slowly turns into one of the most disturbing psychological nightmares you'll ever see. The story begins in a hospital operating room where doctors are trying to save a premature newborn baby. A short while later, the baby's mother, Diane Sherman, is called in to see her child. The baby is in critical condition. Seeing this, Diane asks the doctors, "My baby is going to survive, right?" In the next scene, we see Diane at a parent support group where members are sharing their experiences of raising children with disabilities. Diane also talks about her daughter, Chloe. She says that over the past 17 years, Chloe has faced many physical and emotional challenges, but despite everything, she has grown into an incredibly smart and brave young woman, and Diane is very proud of her. After that, we meet Diane's daughter, Chloe. Since childhood, Chloe has struggled with several serious health conditions. The lower half of her body is paralyzed, leaving her unable to walk and dependent on a wheelchair. On top of that, she also suffers from diabetes, asthma, arrhythmia, and hemochromatosis. Because of these medical conditions, Chloe has to take multiple medications every single day. To help keep her daughter as healthy as possible, Diane devotes herself completely to caring for her. She also homeschools Chloe and constantly encourages her to build a successful future and pursue a good career. Chloe is an incredibly intelligent and curious young woman. She loves experimenting and enjoys learning new things. Using the internet as her guide, she often creates all kinds of projects at home. Chloe dreams of going to college, so she has already applied for admission. Whenever the mail truck arrives at her house, she hopes it might be bringing her college acceptance letter. But every time, she ends up disappointed because nothing has arrived from the college yet. Seeing how anxious Chloe is, Diane tells her to be patient and assures her that the moment the letter arrives, she'll personally place it in Chloe's hands. One day, while Chloe is studying, she hears the sound of a vehicle pulling up outside. She immediately thinks the mail truck has arrived and is convinced that this time it must be carrying her college acceptance letter. But when she looks outside, instead of the mail truck, she sees her mother, Diane, returning home from the store with groceries. Diane sets the groceries down on the table and walks into another room while talking to someone on the phone. Taking advantage of the moment, Chloe quickly grabs a few chocolates from the bags because her mother doesn't let her eat too much chocolate due to her medical condition. Just then, her eyes land on a bottle of medication inside one of the bags. The pills are white and green, and the label has her mother's name, Diane Sherman, printed on it. Seeing this strikes Chloe as a little strange. At that moment, Diane starts coming back into the room, so Chloe hurriedly puts everything back and returns to her desk to continue studying. That night, when Diane gives Chloe her daily medications, the same green capsule is among them. Chloe tells her mother that she noticed Diane Sherman's name on the prescription bottle earlier that day and asks about it. Diane explains that sometimes the pharmacy prints the name of the person who purchased the medication instead of the patient's name. She reassures Chloe that there's nothing unusual about it. Trusting her mother, Chloe takes the pill. Over the next few days, every time Chloe looks at the green capsule, more and more questions start running through her mind. One day, while Diane is out of the house, Chloe takes the opportunity to pull out the prescription bottle. The medication is called trigoxin. This time, she notices that the bottle has her own name printed on the label. That immediately raises her suspicions because the last time she saw it, it had her mother Diane Sherman's name on it. When Chloe examines the label more closely, she realizes that the one with her name has been placed over another label, and underneath it is the original label with Diane Sherman's name. As usual, that night Diane comes into Chloe's room and gives her the daily medications. Chloe pretends to take them and tells her, "Good night, Mom." But as soon as Diane leaves the room, Chloe spits the capsule back out because she never actually swallowed it. Now Chloe can't stop wondering what this green capsule, trigoxin, really is. Late that night, once Chloe is convinced that her mother has gone to sleep, she quietly sneaks out of her room. She heads downstairs and turns on the computer. Chloe searches for trigoxin on Google, but the internet connection is disconnected. Unbeknownst to her, Diane is watching everything from a distance. The next day, Chloe sees her mother outside watering the plants through the window. Taking advantage of the opportunity, she calls a local pharmacy to find out more about trigoxin. But the moment she asks about the medication, the person on the other end says, "Diane, is that you?" Hearing this, Chloe panics and immediately hangs up. After that, she somehow gets in touch with a stranger and manages to get information about trigoxin from them. That's when she learns that the real trigoxin is a medication used to treat a serious heart condition, and the pills are actually red in color. After discovering all of this, countless questions begin racing through Chloe's mind. She becomes convinced that Diane is hiding a major secret from her. That same night during dinner, Chloe tells her mother that they haven't watched a movie together in a long time and asks if they can go see one. Diane agrees. The next day, before leaving for the movie theater, Chloe takes the green capsule. After that, the mother and daughter head out together to watch the movie. During the film, Chloe turns to Diane and says, "I need to pee," then uses the restroom as an excuse to slip out of the theater. The real reason Chloe suggested going to the movies was to reach a pharmacy and uncover the truth about the green capsule. Without wasting any time, she quickly makes her way to a nearby pharmacy. As soon as she arrives, she asks about the green pill. The store attendant tells her that the medication was purchased under Diane's name, so she can't reveal any information because it's confidential. Chloe then comes up with a story on the spot. She says that she and her mother are playing a game, and learning about the green pill is one of the clues. She repeatedly begs the attendant to tell her about it as quickly as possible so she can win the game. Eventually, the attendant gives in and tells her that the green pill is called lidocaine. It's a medication prescribed for dogs to treat leg pain and discomfort. Hearing this leaves Chloe completely stunned. She immediately asks, what would happen if this medicine were given to a human? Just then, Diane suddenly arrives at the pharmacy and starts calling out Chloe's name. Panicked, Chloe turns to the attendant one more time and asks, "Please, tell me, what would happen if a human took this pill?" The attendant replies, "I suppose it could make a person's legs go numb." The moment Chloe hears that, she goes into a panic. Thousands of questions start racing through her mind all at once. At that very moment, Diane rushes over to her, pulls out an injection, and injects her with it. Within seconds, Chloe loses consciousness. Afterward, Diane takes the unconscious Chloe back home and lays her in bed. The next day, Diane receives a call from the same pharmacy where Chloe had learned that the green capsule was actually a dog medication. The pharmacy attendant asks about what happened the previous day. Diane explains that Chloe's doctor recently changed her medications, and it has completely messed with her mind. Diane reassures the attendant that everything is fine and says she's embarrassed about everything that happened the day before. Meanwhile, Chloe regains consciousness. She notices that, as always, Diane has left her meal on the table. Chloe immediately gets up and tries to leave her room so she can talk to her mother. But the moment she tries to open the door, she realizes that Diane has locked her inside. She starts calling out to her mother, saying that she just wants to talk, but there's no response from Diane. Chloe then looks out the window and realizes that her mother has gone somewhere. Using a pin, Chloe somehow tries to unlock the door, but Diane has wedged it shut from the outside with a mop, making it impossible to open. Chloe is left feeling completely helpless and devastated. Just then, Chloe looks out of her bedroom window, and an idea suddenly comes to her. She quickly checks her blood sugar level and then eats her meal to give herself some energy. After that, she takes out several wires from her drawer, ties them together, and uses them to climb out of her bedroom window and enter the house again through the window of another room. Once inside, Chloe crawls back to her bedroom, removes the mop that was blocking the door, and finally manages to open it. She then gets into her wheelchair and leaves the house. Chloe speeds down the road, trying to get as far away from home as possible. Just then, she spots a mail truck. It's the same truck that regularly delivers mail to her house. The mailman steps out of the vehicle, but before he can even ask what's wrong, Chloe desperately begs him for help. Completely surprised, the mailman asks her what happened. At that very moment, Diane is approaching from the same road. As soon as Chloe and the mailman notice her, the mailman tries to hide Chloe so Diane won't see her. But by then, it's already too late. Diane gets out of her car and runs over to the mailman, asking, "What happened to Chloe? Is she okay?" The mailman stops Diane from getting close to Chloe and tells her to stay calm. Diane then asks if he actually believes everything Chloe has told him. She insists that Chloe is sick and that her mental health isn't stable. The mailman replies that he understands what she's saying, but he still can't let Diane take Chloe away with her. Hearing this, Diane becomes furious and starts threatening him. She pretends to call the local police, hoping it will pressure the mailman into handing Chloe over to her. But it has no effect. Diane then breaks down in tears and says, "Do you know my daughter better than I do? Do you have any idea how sick she really is?" After that, she steps forward to take Chloe with her and pleads with the mailman, begging him with folded hands to hand her daughter over. But the mailman firmly refuses, saying he can't do that. Diane then says, "All right, that's fine. Can I at least follow you to wherever you're taking Chloe?" The mailman agrees. After that, the mailman walks over to Chloe and asks whether she wants to go to the hospital or the police station. Chloe tells him she wants to go to the police. Meanwhile, Diane opens the trunk of her car and takes out an injection. Just as the mailman helps Chloe into the mail truck and steps back down, Diane suddenly injects him with it. Within moments, the mailman collapses unconscious. Witnessing all of this leaves Chloe absolutely terrified. In the next scene, we see Diane lock Chloe inside the basement of the house. As Chloe looks around, her eyes fall on an acceptance letter from her college. The very same letter Diane had always claimed never arrived. Seeing it fills Chloe with anger. Meanwhile, we see that Diane has already killed the mailman and is trying to hide his body inside the house. A little later, Chloe notices a box with Diane's name written on it. As she tries to move toward it, she realizes that Diane has chained her wheelchair in place. Chloe gets out of the wheelchair and crawls over to the box. Inside, she discovers something shocking. She finds several photographs from her childhood in which her legs appear to be perfectly healthy. After that, she comes across a death certificate. It belongs to Diane's own daughter, who died shortly after being born. Then Chloe finds a newspaper clipping reporting that a newborn baby had been kidnapped from a hospital. Seeing all of this completely shatters Chloe, and tears begin streaming down her face. Just then, Diane walks into the basement. The moment Chloe sees her, she is terrified. Diane notices the box and realizes that Chloe has already gone through it. With a trembling voice, Chloe says, "You're not my real mother." Diane replies, "I am your real mother." Chloe insists, "No, you took me from the hospital." The moment she hears those words, Diane erupts in anger and starts yelling at Chloe. After that, Diane tries to convince Chloe that she has always protected her. Chloe looks at her and asks, "Am I even sick? Are my legs really damaged? Can I actually walk? Is my heartbeat normal? My blood sugar, is all of it normal?" Filled with anger and desperation, Diane says, "Do you have any idea what I've done for you?" Chloe replies, "You poisoned me." Diane immediately covers her mouth and says, "I protected you." Then she continues, "It's okay, we should just forget all of this. We'll start over." After that, Diane brings out several medications and begins mixing them together to prepare something. Seeing this, Chloe panics and asks, "What are you doing? Please. Don't do anything bad, please." Diane answers that she would never do anything to hurt Chloe. She then fills a syringe with the mixture she has prepared. The sight of it terrifies Chloe. She repeatedly begs, "Please don't do this to me." Trying to save herself, Chloe crawls into a nearby room. As soon as she gets inside, she shuts the door behind her. Standing outside, Diane says, "I love you so much. I would never do anything to hurt you." Then she adds, "Trust me, just trust me." Diane keeps asking Chloe to open the door. But Chloe has realized one thing for certain: Diane will never let her leave. That's why Chloe grabs a bottle of pesticide from the room. The moment Diane forces the door open and rushes inside, Chloe drinks the pesticide, knowing that Diane will have no choice but to take her to the hospital to save her life. Chloe's condition quickly becomes critical, and Diane is forced to rush her to the hospital. Seeing how serious the situation is, the doctors immediately begin treating her. In the next scene, Chloe regains consciousness and finds herself in a hospital room. Because of the pesticide poisoning, she has been intubated, leaving her completely unable to speak. Meanwhile, Diane asks the doctor if she can take Chloe home now that she has stabilized. The doctor replies, "Yes, she's stable now, but she attempted suicide as an adolescent, which makes her a high-risk patient. A mental health physician needs to evaluate Chloe first, and only after that will she be allowed to go home." Diane then goes in to see Chloe. The moment Chloe sees her, she becomes terrified. As soon as Diane leaves the room, Chloe gets the attention of a nurse. Through gestures, she asks the nurse for a pen. For security reasons, instead of giving her a pen, the nurse hands her a crayon and a sheet of paper. Just as Chloe is about to write something on the paper, the hospital's emergency alarm suddenly goes off. The nurse tells her, "I'll be right back," and quickly leaves the room. As soon as the nurse leaves, Diane rushes over to Chloe and forcibly pulls out her breathing tube. Then, while the emergency alarm has all the doctors and hospital staff running in different directions, Diane takes advantage of the chaos and sneaks Chloe out of her room. She quickly tries to get Chloe out of the hospital. Chloe desperately wants to ask the people around her for help, but because Diane violently removed her breathing tube, she's unable to speak. Meanwhile, when the nurse returns to Chloe's room, she realizes that Chloe is gone. She immediately contacts the hospital staff over the radio and asks if anyone has transferred the patient from that room. The staff tells her no. That's when the nurse notices the sheet of paper Chloe left behind. Only one word is written on it: Mom. Seeing this immediately raises her suspicions. She alerts hospital security, and announcements begin echoing throughout the entire hospital. Diane realizes the situation is spiraling out of control. She pulls out the gun she brought with her and tries to rush Chloe out of the hospital. Security teams spread throughout the building and begin searching for Chloe. Diane is just about to escape with her when they reach a staircase. The nearby escalator has already been shut down because of the security alert. Then Diane spots a wheelchair ramp. But as she tries to push Chloe toward it, the wheelchair won't move. Looking more closely, she realizes that Chloe is using her own legs to stop the wheelchair from rolling forward. Seeing this only makes Diane even angrier. At that moment, Chloe looks straight into her eyes and says, "I don't need you." Just then, the security team arrives and shouts, "Put your gun down." But Diane points the gun at them and says, "We're going home." By then, however, it's already too late. The security team opens fire, and Diane is struck by a bullet. The movie's final scene takes place 7 years later. Chloe goes to visit Diane, who is now imprisoned at the State Women's Correctional Center. Chloe tells her that she has started walking a little. As time has passed, her ability to walk has continued to improve, and she's now living a happy life. She also shares that she now makes prosthetic legs for children who are unable to walk. In fact, she recently fitted a 7-year-old child with a new pair of prosthetic legs. Diane quietly listens to everything Chloe says, but there's a clear look of fear on her face. Chloe tells Diane about all the little and big things happening in her life. Then she says, "It's good to see you, Mom, but I think it's time for me to go." After that, Chloe takes out the same green pills from her mouth that Diane had forced her to take for so many years. In the end, Chloe says, "I love you, Mom. Now open wide."